Coaching in Session.
Your exclusive destination for unparalleled personal and professional growth.
With your host, Michael Rearden.
Whether you choose to live within limits or break free, your mindset journey begins here.
The countdown has begun, and we are in the final month of 2025. If you are listening to this in 2026, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to this episode. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the idea, the aspect of momentum. Because when we are trying to propel ourselves into something, getting a head start is always the better option. I don't know if anyone is familiar with the Olympics. And in the Olympics, there's different types of sports. One of the sports is going to be racing, track and field. Some are relay races, but some are sprints. Now, when the race is starting, the racers are in their designated areas. They hear a pop of the gun, and then they start racing all at the same time. Now, if I could time the pop, and I'm not saying I'm an Olympic runner or anything, but if I could time the pop to cross the starting line, the same time everyone is getting from the start that they typically will get of just stand still, but I got a running head start, I would probably win hands down every single time. But again, this is me being an Olympic runner or being at that level. When we have the momentum into something, we don't have to waste time building up, right? We don't have to build up anything, right? Imagine if you were in a NASCAR, instead of everyone starting at the line and going 3, 2, 1, and then the green light goes on, there was a person going 100 miles an hour already. And as soon as that green light goes, boom, he's already 2 or 3 laps ahead of everyone, right? Because those cars have to build up the momentum. Now, of course, these are very fast cars and they can get speeds very quickly, or they can get up to speeds very quickly. But the reality is the car that is going, or the person that is going, is always going to triumph or trump the person that's starting from nothing. Now, even though they're ready, right? How many people are ready for the new year? I got my resolutions and I have all my plans and I got my life coach and I got my mindset coach and I got my consultation, and you did all of these things, right? But the reality is, are you truly ready to dive in? Because when you jump into the pool and you jump into the deep end, you have 2 options: to swim or to sink. And if you're not ready to swim, see you later. So we have to figure out, how can we build the momentum? How can we build the action to get the results that we're looking for? So we can stay not only just above water, but we can move through it like a mermaid or a sailboat, or just, again, Michael Phelps, some type of Olympic swimmer, right? We do it with a finesse. We do it with an ease. But we have to learn how to build the momentum. And luckily for us, we have this article here, How to Build Momentum Before the New Year. And we're talking about how we can adjust our mindset for the best start possible. If you knew how to win in life and you said, okay, I know how to win in life. Well, would you just say, okay, well, I know how to win in life. I don't want it to be that easy. So I'm going to give myself a hard path. I'm going to give myself a very difficult road. And I'm not going to do all the things that are going to make me happy or make me successful or make me fulfilled. Most people don't think that way. I'm sure people who play the lotto, if they knew the winning numbers, they won't purposely put the wrong numbers. So why are people just kind of going through life, not on purpose? They know how to live a good life, be intentional. But then how many people are not intentional in their days? How many people don't have a purpose or a focus, a discipline, right? Momentum begins there. This is the journey. But we have to know where we want to go. So one of the first things we have to do when we're on this idea of momentum is we need to figure out, where are we launching into? Of course, we have this idea of the finish line. We have this idea of the goal. We have this idea of the success. We have this idea of the grandiose things, the mindset, right? We have all of this stuff, right? But all of this is vague. We need to be specific. Like, how can we be specific? Well, depending on where you are and what you want. maybe you want more money. Maybe you say, okay, I want to make more money in 2026 than I have ever made in my whole entire life, right? Annually. So you have to look at your current job situation and you have to figure out, all right, is this job going to be the catalyst to help me reach my goal? Or do I need to figure out something different? If you need to figure out something different, we need to start to journal. We need to start to jot things down. We need to figure out what are the things that we want to do. Now, I understand most people, when they think of like, how can I make money quick? They do what everyone else is doing, right? They think of Amazon drop shipping or writing a book or Uber Eats or something, or getting a second job, right? So like all of these things are going to get you money quick, but it doesn't mean that you're going to make the most money ever. And maybe you make a little bit more. How much effort and how much sacrifice did you have to accrue because you said, I'm going to give myself a harder life and not play the game smarter? Just as I was saying early on, if you knew how to be successful, would you still do all the wrong things? And here we are. Everyone's doing the wrong thing. So why are people doing the wrong thing? Why are people falling into this trap of the rat race of thinking that they have to work for money rather than money working for them? Because we have not been trained. We have not been given the key to the door in the sense of what mindset is, or what our mind is capable of, or our body is capable of. So if all of this is said, that we have a formula to succeed, why are people not trying to learn more about this formula? Because it is difficult to create. You can have all the ingredients of grandma's stew, pot roast, or whatever it be, and you can put all of those ingredients together, and it will not be grandma's stew. It will not be her dish. Growing up, my great grandmother, she was our cook. And I don't just say like our cook, like she was a maid. She was a mom to me, where my mom would work 2-3 jobs just to make ends meet and send us to school and make sure we had some food. And my grandma, she would be the person who would watch us after school, and she would cook for us religiously 6 days out of the week. On Friday, it was pizza day, and we would go to the pizza spot right by our home. And the pizza, it didn't taste good, but it's like childhood, right? There's some things that you just don't understand, or you cannot fully, I'm not going to say appreciate, but you can't disdain because you don't have the world experience to say which is better, which is not. Today, if I had that pizza, I would say, whoa, I would rather have a frozen pizza or something. I wouldn't order that pizza as my first go-to spot. Even as a nostalgia, I would probably not order that pizza. I know how it tastes. It tastes like cardboard. I know Little Caesars tastes like cardboard too, but even Little Caesars, I think, it is a little bit better in the terms of understanding the taste of kids and of Americans. This guy, he must have been Italian. The sauce was really nice. The cheese was good. It's just that when you took a bite of the pizza, it just felt like you weren't really eating anything. So it was like bland almost, but it was fresh. And I guess that could be a good thing, but it wasn't like one of the Italian moms or grandmas that cooked for me once. She made a pizza. It was delicious. I was like, whoa, this pizza is good. It's night and day difference. And I don't mean to be talking about pizza and food and all of this stuff before the New Year's, but this idea is that you can have the recipe, right? You can read this blog every single day, and it's not going to be enough for you to create a masterpiece. Why is that? Why can you read this article, and even though it has all of the good things, it's not going to help you? Because just the words here are not enough. You need to want to help yourself. So you can read all these articles, you can listen to all the podcasts, you can get all the coaching in the world, but if you don't want something, it's not going to happen. If you don't want to learn how someone has done something, you're not going to be able to recreate it 100%. Of course, you can make it uniquely yours, but when you're trying to get that feeling of grandma's pasta dish or whatever it be, or her stew or her beans or her rice, like this is something that's going to be gone forever. And it's funny, sometimes I go to places that, like Spanish restaurants, and the food resembles or gets close to my grandma's cooking. It's still not quite it. One of the foods I remember trying, I was like, wow, this is very similar to my grandma's cooking. But then again, it was like missing the love or something. Like it was missing something. And oftentimes when people are going into this idea of personal development, they have a lot of good things going for them. They have all the ingredients, but they're still missing something. Maybe it's that it factor. I'm sure people are familiar with the it factor. Do or die. This moment that we have, beginning of December, it might seem like so far, or it might seem like we have so much time left. We just got back from Thanksgiving and from shopping on Black Friday, and you were thankful and you were gracious, and now you can be sort of focused. Maybe I'm making a little bit more money this holiday season, because it could be a busy time for you, because it typically is a busy time for many businesses around this time, for closing reasons, for tax reasons. I mean, we can go down the list of all the things that people are doing in December. One of the things they probably are doing is worrying about, if they have kids, I have to get my kids presents and I have to wrap them and I have to go visit my family. And there could be just a whole plethora of problems. And then you have this idea of maybe you don't have all the luxuries of what typical people have: a Christmas tree, a lot of presents, family. And so you're by yourself. So now you're thinking in a negative realm of, I'm just all by myself. I'm just all alone. And then you might even be thinking, why is it even worth thinking about December? So now you're not choosing to focus. You're not choosing to start working. You're just kind of coasting until January 1st. And this is where most people reside. And I would say somewhere between 85 and 95% of people in our world are going to wait till January 1st to take action, because it is not the 5 to 15% that are going to be struggling when January 1st comes. Those people have already started their engines and are going 100 miles an hour. And on January 1st, they're going to zoom by everybody. They're going to be that person who's already did one lap around the track, and they're going, I don't know how fast runners go in the Olympics, 27 miles an hour or something. It might be too much. It might be hypocrisy what I'm saying. But they're already cruising. And so they're going to zoom by everyone almost like they were standing still. And what happens is that when you see people passing you, like you're standing still, the brain does something crazy. It's like, wait, what's happening? I'm not even moving. Why am I even trying? And so you stop. And when you stop, you have a harder time getting back up. So all of this is to say is that when we're looking at this article here, how to build momentum before the new year, it's going to help us understand what momentum is. But we need to understand that momentum is not just built in a conversation. It's not just built in a concept or in a mindset or in a coaching. It's built in action, right? Those runners of that car, they had to have some level of action for them to be able to propel themselves forward. We need to have some level of action. Could these actions be? Well, it's going to be different for everyone. I wish I could say that everyone should do this one action and then they'll be successful. Unfortunately, it might not be you, because I can say you need a journal, you need to get some accountability, you need to understand your direction, right? There's all these factors that need to be there. But the reality is, if you don't show up one day, maybe on January 1st, you say, I'm going to do January 2nd, and maybe you show up on January 2nd. I guess we can have the mindset, better late than never. All right. At least you're trying, but that's not going to get you through the year. Most resolutions, or most people's idea of personal development for the new year, die extremely quickly because they're just not built for it. Imagine if you were a runner, but you were not a runner, meaning you were going to sign up for a marathon. Let's say a 5K, only a 5K, not a 10K. This is a 5K. You have no training. You might be overweight. you don't know how to run properly, you're bow-legged. I mean, there could be a whole bunch of problems, right? I'm talking about a lot of problems. What happens during that race or during the start is that maybe you feel kind of good, right? You're ambitious. You're like, all right, I'm going to run this race and I'm going to feel good that I'm running this race. And sure enough, right? 100 yards, 200 yards, you start to feel winded. You're like, oh my goodness, my whole body's aching. You only got 200 yards into this race. And there's people cruising. There's people checking their watch and their pulse. And you're over here saying, what is that? I don't even know what that thing is. You didn't prepare properly. Now, when you want to succeed in your resolutions, or if you want to succeed in the new year, you need to build momentum, right? You need to start in December, not January 1st, if you didn't figure that out yet. Now, I'm not going to leave you and just say, hey, if you want to be better this new year, you need to start something in December. You need to get coaching in December. You need to keep listening to the podcast or reading the blogs in December. Well, all of this is helpful, but again, it might not be helpful for you, as I was saying, because there is going to be a framework that we can follow in this coming month and then leading up into the new year. But the reality is going to be that if you are not aiming at the right thing, you're going to stop. Because most people, they say, hey, I want to lose some weight. Why? Like, why do you want to lose weight? Like, what is the purpose of losing weight? I want to look better. For who? All right. Like, let's get real specific. Do you want to look good for you? Do you want to look good for your husband or a boyfriend or someone else? Like, who do you want to look good for? Because now what's happening is that you say you want to look good for somebody, but then you have the subconscious mind saying, I don't look good right now. So if you don't look good right now you're at a lower state of frequency in the lower state of mindset. So do you think that all of a sudden that you're just going to do the things that are supposed to be there, and then all of a sudden you're going to be happy because you're going for the things that you're supposed to go for? No, you're not. You're going to be actually miserable because running and trying to get in shape is hard work. Your motive is not strong enough. The purpose or the why that you're going for, yeah, sure, it's a great thing to have. But if you're just doing it because of a surface level thing of, I want to look good, maybe you want to feel good, I understand all of these things are nice, but what is stopping you from starting today? Why do you have to wait till January 1st? So that means you have accepted who you are. This goes into the identity. So when we're looking at the framework, I think this is important. One of the last things I'm going to say, because we're going to be talking about this the whole entire month of December. And then January, of course, we're going to get into what you need to be doing. But momentum is today, right? So we need to figure out momentum, how to start to build momentum. Let's focus on that. And then, of course, the next episodes, we're going to be breaking things down a little bit more. But again, momentum is so important. Now, the 3-step momentum framework I want you to walk away with today is going to be this. Number 1, clarity. Clarity is going to be deciding exactly what you want to improve and to achieve. We talked about it already, right? We need to be very specific. We need to write things down, and we need to make sure we know where to focus our time and our efforts. We're not going to do anything half-assed. We're not going to say, oh, I'm going to kind of do this. I'm going to kind of do this. Like, I'm talking about whatever you say you're going to do. Whatever you write down is going to be your testament. I don't want to say Bible because I know spiritual. It is going to be your North Star. You're going to go for it 100%. Number 2, right? Action. Well, we can't really get anywhere in life without action. If we want to go to the fridge, we need to have some action. We have to get up and we have to walk to the fridge. If we want to get a relationship, we have to have some level of action. Women just don't fall from the sky like angels. I know there's a pickup line. Hey, baby, did it hurt when you fell from the sky? Because she was an angel. No. Okay. It didn't hurt because she didn't fall from the sky. If you want her, you have to go up to her. There's a level of action that has to occur. And if you don't have that action, you can't just hope things happen. I mean, you could hope, but the reality that is going to happen into your favor is going to be slimmer. The unattractive guy or the guy that might be a bit overweight or the guy that might not be the most ideal candidate. If he's going up to more women asking them, hey, would you like to go out to eat or go out for a date? He's going to get more action than the guy who is maybe more suited. He's more in shape, maybe has better finances, but he doesn't go up to the girls. So guess what? Action is going to trump someone having all the right tools. So we have to choose even a small thing, a small step, maybe going on a dating website, or just maybe going up to a girl at a bar or club or a coffee shop and just say, hey, how are you doing today? All right. I just wanted to check in. I saw that you're reading this book, one of my favorites. That's it. You just practice, right? You don't have to say, oh, I hope I get her number and I hope I sleep with her the next night or something like that. Like, this is too much. Okay. Now, if you find like a connection and she's super into it and like she wants to put the book down, heck, go with it. But if not, if you don't feel like anything, you feel like you're a bother. And again, I know this is a lot of mindset because you might walk up feeling like you're a bother and then just say, hey, I like your book, and then run away from her. And she's like, sir. And then before you know, you're already in the car huffing and puffing. You need to go to the hospital because you're about to have a panic attack. No. Okay. The actions should be deliberate, but then they should also be structured in a way that you are not only just doing things because I'm telling you to do them, but they're structured for your success. So if the success of meeting someone and having a relationship, you have to go through that uncomfortableness or the uncertainty moments. All of these things are what life is. Tomorrow is not promised. I might not wake up. You might not wake up. But then again, we still plan for it. Heck, you probably have your New Year's resolutions already laid out for you. I'm sure kids already have the Christmas gift laid out for them. Mom and Dad, I want this for Christmas. I remember I had, maybe 23 toys one year for Christmas. I got the Toys R Us catalog and I was going through the catalog and I said, oh, I want this, I want that. And I got some of the things, right? And I got some things that I didn't even know I wanted. So it's like, hey, I'm doing all the work thinking I know what I want. And then I finally get it, or I get other things that I didn't know what I wanted. And most people, again, this is how they live. They think they know what they want, but they truly don't know. All of this is going to be tied in beautifully like a neat present with consistency. If you can remain consistent and commit to whatever you need to do and repeat the processes, guess what? It's only natural that you're going to succeed. The rhythms that you create today are going to lead to the music of tomorrow. So if we know that we can multiply our time, we can multiply our efforts, we can multiply our success, we can multiply our happiness, we can multiply our fulfillment. All of these things can be multiplied, never divided. Again, but most people divide. They get to a point and they go, okay, well, let's cut the year in half. Okay, I was good for the first 6 months, and then all of a sudden, the next 6 months are just poop. All right, they're no good. How many people, and I hope this is not you, how many people do you know who said, yeah, I had a salad yesterday, so I can eat a pizza tomorrow? So it's like you do one good thing and then you counteract it with a bad thing. That's division. Okay. You are saying you're doing one good thing, one good deed. You go to the gym for 3 months out of the year, and then for 9 months out of the year, you're not going to the gym. So it's like you do something good and then you just find yourself divided exactly where you were. And then you wonder why, or people wonder why. Why am I not making any progress in life? Why do I feel stuck? Why do I feel lost? It's because you're not giving 100% clarity to what you want to do. I can't imagine a person who is clear, who's taking all the right actions and is being consistent, that don't get what they're going for. Of course, it's not going to be for everyone. Some people are going to have a clear goal and they're going to have the actions. It might be some of the wrong actions maybe, but they're going to have some level of actions that are helping them get there. And maybe they're even consistent to a degree. And maybe they have some levels of success. But then again, what they do in the mind does is that they say, it's not what I wanted, so I failed. Then again, it's like you attempted, you were building the momentum. Somewhere along the way or the line, things got skewed, right? Things got frayed. One of the best things a person can do during this time is to get a coach, a guide, someone to hold them accountable. And of course, I don't necessarily like accountability partners for the new year, Because what's going to happen for the new year is that one person might be gun-ho, might succeed, and then the other person is not. And I mean, we don't have to sacrifice our partners or our accountability partners, because it's like, yeah, sure, we have someone that's paying attention to us, but what we need is not so much accountability. We need skin in the game. We need to invest in ourselves. We need to say, hey, I'm going to do this and I don't care what it's going to cost. I want these results. Because if you get a trainer and you say, hey, trainer, I'm paying you for 12 months, and let's say it costs a lot of money, you might be like, whoa, like maybe somewhere down the road you're thinking about a refund, but you are most likely going to go for most of those sessions because you paid for them. Of course, if you get injured or something happens, of course, then possibly you might not go to them. But if you're investing in yourself long term, you say, okay, I'm going to commit to 3 months of training or 6 months of training. Okay, great. All of this is good stuff, right? I'm just telling you the good stuff. What happens after that? What happens after the year or the 3 months or the 6 months or however long, right? Do you stop investing in yourself? Do you stop caring? Do you stop putting skin in the game? This idea, right, to build momentum is meaning that you're going to run into things, not just run out of things. So when the 3 months of training or the 3 months of your gym start to wind down, what do you do about it? Do you keep the momentum and do you keep the discipline that you're going for, or do you kind of just let it die out? Do you keep your gym membership, which most people do and gyms count on? They go, oh, I hope you keep your gym membership for the whole year. So most people have gym memberships that they never use. The first 3 months of the year, everyone is in the gym, right? And you can just go to the gym and it's just packed. You're like, Jesus, the gym is packed. And you have to understand it's the New Year wave, the New Year resolution wave. And all the regular patrons of the gym are going to say, I can't wait till this is over. And it will be over eventually, of course. And all those people, they keep their gym memberships in hope and anticipation that maybe they go. Maybe they'll go. And maybe they go once a week out of the month. And that's how the gyms make so much money. You spend $30 or maybe the cheapest is like $10 a month on a gym membership, and you go one time for the whole entire month. That's not a good investment. Okay? I understand that $10 can be a daily fee or something like that. And you might say, well, it's better for me to have a gym membership and not to use it every single month or every single day or week or whatever it be, than for me to get a day pass for the whole entire year. Okay, I understand your logic, but are you trying to get better, or is this just a facade that you're trying to implement? Because you can trick everyone else, but you're not going to trick me, and you will definitely not trick your mind. Your mind is going to know if you are 100% towards something or if you're not. If you're going to dive in for the long term or if you're not. Imagine if you were to get married and you're like, wow, I really like this person today, but tomorrow, I don't know. Next week, I don't know. Next month, I don't know. I'm not going to be clear on my relationship goals with them. I'm not going to do the actions that are necessary for a relationship to thrive. I'm not going to be consistent in taking them out to eat and going on dates and making sure I understand them in their times of trials and tribulations, or possibly in the moments when they're weak. I'm not going to help them be strong. So there's lapses. Instead of growing together, you're growing apart. And what happens with momentum, if you're not running toward something, you're slowing down toward everything. We need to become more focused in how we're being in our days. This article here, where I'm talking about how to build the momentum before the new year, it's going to give you so many golden nuggets. It's going to give you the 3-step framework that we're going to be getting this month of December with, and maybe going into the early of next year. All of this is going to help you get to the end of the year with a newer mindset. So when you step into the new year, January 1st is not the starting line. It's just the beginning of a date. You have already begun the race. The race has already started, and you're already ahead. The finish line might be way down the road. It might be a daunting task to think about, but this idea of the finish line and you're heading toward it is a powerful concept for the mind. And as long as you can remain consistent, as long as you are stronger than your negative thoughts and beliefs, you're going to multiply all of the actions that you're doing. They're going to compound. And you're going to find yourself at the end of the year saying, let me do it again. Let me do it again. And you keep doing it again and again and again, or month after month after month, however you want to put it, you're going to find yourself creating good progress. So the inception of something new, I know I talked about this last year, the inception of something new is the best time for the mind to take action. A new job, a new year, a new relationship, something new is typically when we're all focused. We're 100% in. But then it dissipates. So momentum is going to be that force that keeps you going, right? This keeps you moving. There are certain fish, the tuna, for example. I know this kind of seems like, why are you talking about tuna now? Tunas have to constantly remain moving. That's how they breathe, right? They have to move so the water can go through their gills and that they can breathe. If they stop moving at all, they die, okay? Very similar to our blood, right? Our blood is constantly moving oxygen through our body, okay? Just because you sleep doesn't mean your blood says, hey, let's take a break, okay? Like our veins are like, oh, let's take a break, okay? We're not, like, we don't have to pump blood anymore. No, you're continually pumping. You're continually working. Your body's continually working, okay? There's a lot of automatic things that happen in your life, but you don't have to be one of them, right? Your mindset doesn't have to be one of them. So I encourage you to be deliberate, to understand what momentum is and to learn how to fully implement it into this month and moving forward in the whole entire 2026. Of course, there's going to be days when maybe you want to take a back seat, when you want to take a rest. And I'm not saying that you can't stop. I'm not saying that you have to give me 100% every single day. But what I'm saying is, I want you to give 100% of what you got. And if you can't think of the difference between the two, I encourage you to reach out to us, revenconcepts.com, get yourself a consultation, learn more about what you're capable of doing, not only for this month, but for also all of next year. The momentum is going to help you reach your goals sooner than later. The momentum is going to help propel you into the new year, into new heights in your life. There's some work that needs to happen before that. So don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to continue to read the articles and the blogs and to listen to the podcast. All of these ideas and all of these concepts are going to be the keys to all the locked doors that have been in your life. And soon you're going to have an array of possibilities laid out before you. And that's mainly going to be because you became clear, you decided to take action, and you said, I'm going to be consistent in everything that I do. And that could be your new year.